How to reprogram your mind to attract money and abundance without fear or guilt. When your chest tightens at the sight of your balance, it's not just numbers, it's exhaustion, shame, the fear of repeating one more bad decision. In that state, your brain doesn't optimize, it protects. It chooses the familiar over the fruitful. Here's the truth most people avoid because it demands responsibility. Money obeys the story you believe about yourself. If the story is scarcity, every raise evaporates into lifestyle creep. If the story is guilt, every purchase tastes like punishment. If the story is fear, every opportunity feels like a trap. Change the story, and the behavior follows. This isn't motivational fluff. It's money psychology applied. Your brain runs on prediction, not potential. It conserves energy by repeating what feels safe, even when safety means staying stuck. Childhood scripts, throwaway lines about people with money, tense dinners when bills were due, jokes that made wealth look dirty. You didn't analyze those messages, you absorbed them. They became a silent operating system that tags money as threat and relief as reward. That's why you call procrastination timing, overspending self-care, and paralysis prudence. Emotion fires first, reason writes a tidy memo afterward. Today we flip that order. We will audit the scripts, test the beliefs, and install a protocol that works under pressure. You will turn vague hopes into identity-based habits, automatic transfers on payday, a weekly 20-minute review, a 24-hour pause before any non-essential purchase. You will reframe the language that programs decisions, not "I'm bad with money," but "I steward resources with clarity." You will design an environment where the right choice is the easy choice, friction for impulse, flow for investing, no grand gestures. Small promises kept consistently until discipline becomes a side effect, not a daily fight. We will also rewire the emotion underneath the math. Abundance is not a pile, it is a state. Accumulation without identity breeds anxiety. Identity with aligned habits compounds into freedom. That means measuring what matters: consistency, rate of contributions, days without off-plan spending, minutes of weekly review. What you track, you train. As evidence accumulates, your brain updates the character you believe you are. And money, which has always been a mirror, starts reflecting a calmer, more capable version of you. If you felt the cycle, earn, tense up, spend for relief, feel guilt, avoid your numbers, this is your pivot. You don't need perfect conditions, you need coherence. Clear language, repeatable steps, a ritual that anchors the day, and a weekly checkpoint that prevents drift. You'll stop chasing money and start directing it. You'll stop arguing with symptoms and address the mechanism. You'll stop outsourcing confidence to a future income and build it now through proof you can't ignore. Breathe. You are not behind, you are before a decision. From this point forward, your mind learns that prosperity is safe. Your actions will confirm it. Your results will follow. Let's begin by exposing the invisible prison that has been steering your choices, so you can walk out with the key you've had all along. The hidden script that sabotages your financial mindset before you ever made your first financial decision. A story was already being written inside your mind. You didn't write it, your environment did. Each reaction from your parents about bills, every phrase you overheard about rich people, every subtle gesture of worry around money etched commands in your subconscious. Those moments programmed your nervous system to link money with stress, not opportunity. So even as an adult, your mind protects you from financial growth, mistaking it for danger. When you delay checking your account or postpone investing until things calm down, that's not laziness, it's conditioning. Your brain learned that financial attention equals emotional pain, so it does what it was designed to do. It avoids discomfort, even if it costs you your future freedom. This is the invisible script running the show, a pattern you didn't choose but keep rehearsing. And until you bring it to light, every new strategy will fail under the same mental ceiling. To reprogram your mind, you must first expose this script. Write down your first memories about money. Who handled it? Who avoided it? What was said when it ran out? Then look for the emotional signature that repeats in your current life. Anxiety, guilt, fear, resentment. The moment you identify the loop, you regain control of it. You stop being the actor and become the director. From there, everything changes. Now that you've uncovered how the script was written, it's time to rewrite it consciously, not by affirmations but by evidence. Because the brain doesn't believe what you say, it believes what you do. The neuroscience of financial reprogramming. Every belief you hold about money is not just an idea, it's a neural circuit, a literal physical pathway in your brain. Each time you repeat a thought like "I'm not good with money" or "I can't save," you strengthen that circuit. The brain is efficient, it automates whatever you repeat, whether useful or destructive. That's why people can read dozens of financial books and still sabotage themselves. They're trying to change results without updating the operating system. Here's what neuroscience tells us. Your brain doesn't distinguish between emotional and financial survival. The same circuitry that fires when you face a predator activates when you face a financial threat. An overdue bill, a risky investment, or even just checking your bank app. That's why your logic shuts down and your old habits take control. To change your financial destiny, you must calm your nervous system before you challenge your patterns. Safety first, strategy second. So, how do you rewire those circuits? With repetition, emotion, and action, in that order. You don't reprogram beliefs by force, but by proof. Start small. Commit to one automatic transfer on payday, even if it's symbolic. Each time you follow through, you create micro-evidence that contradicts the old program. That evidence rewrites your identity. The brain begins to associate financial action with safety and control, not fear. And once that emotional shift happens, wealth habits no longer feel like a struggle, they become self-reinforcing. The key is consistency, not intensity. Your nervous system doesn't trust sudden transformation, it trusts repeated proof. Within weeks, your financial behavior stops being a fight and starts being who you are. But before that happens, there's a crucial step most people skip: disconnecting money from guilt and moral judgment. Because if you still believe wealth is selfish, your subconscious will quietly reject it. Decoupling money from guilt and moral judgment. If somewhere inside you believe wealth is selfish, every smart financial action will feel wrong. You'll hesitate to charge fairly, underprice your work, overgive your time, and spend in secret, then sabotage savings to restore a sense of goodness. That isn't ethics, it's conditioning. Money is neutral. It amplifies the character you bring to it. A generous person with resources scales impact. A fearful person scales fear. The psychology of money is clear. Moral shame attached to prosperity creates chronic self-limitation. Start with language. Replace virtue signals disguised as advice. dinheiro estraga, becomes dinheiro revela valores. Como tem muito tiro de alguém, vira valor, cria valor. Words are code. Update the code, and behavior updates with less friction. Next, list 3 ways more resources would serve what you truly value. Stability for your familia. Margem para aprender. E empreender, doação planejada. Purpose dissolves guilt. Install the fair exchange rule. Value delivered preço cobrado. Costo energético. If you undercharge, you violate fairness with yourself. If you overcharge, you violate fairness with the client. Aim for healthy surplus. That's what funds freedom, reserves, and growth. Frame earning as stewardship, not extraction. Stewardship means tracking, allocating, and multiplying resources with clarity. Create a clean earnings ritual to anchor safety after each recebimento. Separe automaticamente tres envelopes. Digitize. Liberdade investimento / ativo. Estabilidade, reserva boletos. Disfrute consciente. Presa sem culpa. Guilt thrives in ambiguity. It dies in transparency. When you see that every real you earn has destino e proposito, the nervous system relaxes and allows you to keep it. Practice visible generosity with boundaries. Defina percentual mensal de doação ou ajuda, pequeno porém constante. Paradoxically, committing to an explicit giving line removes the impulse to self-sabotage through chaotic generosity that drains you. Structured giving proves that abundance is safe and strengthens an identity of contribution. Finally, rehearse permission statements before key actions. E segura prospera. Crescer no me afasta de quem amo. Ganhar bem me torna mais útil. Pair each statement with a micro-action. Enviar uma proposta justa, ajustar su preço, confirmar o aporte automático. Identity shifts through evidence. With guilt decoupled, decisions stop wobbling. You'll negotiate without apology, invest without dread, and enjoy without backlash. Now you're ready for the practical blueprint that turns belief into daily momentum, the identity-based habit system. The identity-based habit system, most people try to change habits from the surface, spending less, saving more, earning better. But transformation only lasts when it's built from identity, not effort. The question isn't, how do I save more money? But who is the kind of person who naturally handles money with awareness? Because behavior always follows identity. Here's how it works. Your brain operates like a thermostat. When your results drift too far from your internal self-image, it pulls you back to normal. If you see yourself as someone who lives on the edge, you'll unconsciously adjust spending, income, and opportunities to confirm that pattern. But when you update your identity to "I'm someone who builds financial freedom every day," your brain starts seeking coherence with that new definition. You begin to act differently without needing to force it. Start by replacing goals with identity rituals. Instead of saying, "I'll save 500 reais this month," say, "I'm the kind of person who pays myself first." Set up an automatic transfer. That symbolic gesture is a declaration of who you are. Reinforce it daily with micro-evidence, checking your balance without anxiety, logging an expense without guilt, celebrating consistency instead of the absolute amount. The secret is to minimize friction and maximize pride. Every small win should be visible, trackable, and rewarded. For example, use a simple chart with 3 columns: awareness, consistency, growth. Mark a point every time you act according to your new identity. Your brain becomes addicted to this progress loop. Over time, the habit stops being a task and becomes a reflex. You become someone who thinks, decides, and acts with a rich mindset. And when your identity aligns with abundance, money stops being something to chase. It becomes a natural extension of who you are. Now that you understand how to align identity and behavior, it's time to integrate the final element of reprogramming, the mental and emotional environment that sustains it all. Environment by design, friction for impulse, flow for wealth, willpower is overrated. Your results are mostly the product of the environment nudging you all day. If your phone glows with flash sales and one-click purchases, impulse wins. If your banking app opens on spending, not investing, panic sets the tone. Reprogramming sticks when you engineer surroundings that make the right behavior effortless and the wrong one inconvenient. Start by auditing your points of failure. When do you overspend, delay decisions, or avoid your numbers? Morning scrolls, late-night fatigue, weekends sem plano. Now flip the architecture. Remove stored cards from shopping sites. Disable one-click buying. Silence marketing notifications in the hours you costumer gaster. Move shopping apps to a folder, enter RADA. Place your investing app on the dock. Set it to open on contributions, not charts. Make your default view the plan you already chose. Automate what matters. Schedule transfers on payday to investment and reserves before any discretionary spend. Tie fixed bills to one account and variable expenses to another so you feel the boundary without phaser calculo mental. Create a weekly money slot of 20 minutes, always same day and hour, with a checklist Curto, entradas, saídas, uma decisão. Predictability calms the nervous system and keeps drift from compounding. Design visual cues for abundance with accountability. A small dashboard on your workspace showing 3 metrics that actually move the needle. Contribution consistency, days without off-plan purchases, reserve runway. Every time you pass by, you remember who you are agora. Pair those cues with recovery protocols. If you break a rule, run the 3-step reset immediately. Acknowledge without drama, reconcile the numbers, execute one corrective micro-action. The goal is rapid return to baseline, not perfection. Engineer your social environment too. Curate 1 or 2 voices that teach money psychology and long-term thinking. Mute comparison triggers. Replace doom scroll with a 2-minute review of your plan. Keep a frictionless path to progress. A pinned note comme sois regres dro. A quick link to your auto transfer. A pre-written no for invitations that di salanum sus objetivas. You are not trying to become superhuman. You are turning abundance into the path of least resistance. When environment, identity, and ritual align, discipline stops leaking. Decisions feel lighter because the heavy lifting is already baked into the system around you. Wealth building ceases to be a sprint of motivation and becomes a steady, almost quiet march in the right direction. That quiet is the sound of compounded freedom. The emotional architecture of wealth. Money isn't math. It's emotion disguised as logic. Every financial choice is filtered through nervous system safety. If your body associates wealth with rejection, exposure, or responsibility, it will trigger resistance no matter how rational your plan looks. This is why intelligent people self-sabotage, not from ignorance, but from emotional misalignment. The first rule: your body must feel safe with abundance. Sit quietly and imagine receiving 10 times your current income. Pay attention to the sensations: tension in the chest, guilt, excitement, anxiety. Those reactions are your real financial thermostat. You can't outperform your nervous system. To upgrade it, train safety through repetition. Visualize abundance daily until neutrality replaces tension. Link money to calm, contribution, and purpose, not danger. Use micro-exposure. Handle larger sums intentionally. Transfer savings manually. Watch investment growth without panic. Speak numbers aloud. Each repetition rewires comfort. The more familiar wealth feels, the less your subconscious treats it as threat. Create emotional anchors for expansion. When gratitude peaks, after receiving payment, completing a project, or helping someone, pause. Breathe and imprint. This is what abundance feels like. Your brain then associates reward with calm instead of chaos. And practice emotional minimalism. Stop tying your worth to daily balance fluctuations. Money moves, your value doesn't. Wealth is not how much you have, it's how little fear controls your use of it. When emotion and logic align, wealth creation becomes effortless, not because work disappears, but because resistance does. 90-day plan from habit to quiet wealth. Consistent wealth is born from well-executed short cycles. In 90 days, you don't change the world, you change the system that governs your financial world. Think of it as 3 30-day sprints, each with its own focus, metrics and rituals that strengthen your money psychology, your abundance mindset, and the habits that preserve wealth. Days 130, foundation and clarity. Set a simple, measurable goal, an 80% consistency rate in your contributions, and 0 off-plan purchases on 14 out of 30 days. Set up automatic transfers on payday. Create 2 visible mental accounts, stability and freedom, and perform a weekly 20-minute financial second. Real metrics: invested amount is secondary. Consistency is what counts. Command phrases: it's safe to prosper. I direct resources with calm and confidence. The goal is to reduce friction and prove to your brain that abundance is a possible state. Days 31, 60, expansion with emotional control. Introduce the 10-10-10 rule for spending decisions and the micro-exposure protocol to larger numbers. Review your statement calmly. Monitor asset growth without euphoria. Say your numbers out loud. Strengthen your environment. Keep cards out of reach during critical hours. Silence store notifications. Place a shortcut to your investment app on your home screen. Metrics: consecutive days without impulse purchases, weekly minutes of review, and your average daily sense of financial safety on a simple 1 to 5 scale. You're training your nervous system to associate money with calm and purpose. Days 61, 90, consolidation and growth. Increase your contribution by 1-2 percentage points if consistency is above 80%. Launch a mini income or efficiency project. Renegotiate fees, sell unused items, adjust service pricing. Set up a visible dashboard with 3 indicators: contribution consistency, reserve runway, and days without off-plan spending. Reinforce your identity language. It's not in my plan replaces I can't. Allocation replaces spending. Buying freedom replaces saving. The goal is to make the right behavior the path of least resistance. At the end of the 90 days, run a guilt-free review: what pulled you towards scarcity, which triggers you deactivated, which decision brought the highest return. Plan your next cycle with a single high-impact lever. When you measure what matters and repeat what works, Discipline becomes a consequence, not a burden. That's how quiet wealth is built. Identity, ritual, environment and metrics all pointing in the same direction. The three-bucket system, allocating money with purpose and peace. A wealthy mind needs a simple map that removes hesitation at the critical moment. The three-bucket system does exactly that. It turns money into direction, reduces anxiety, and builds consistency. It unites money psychology, financial habits, and an abundance mindset into a flow you can sustain on autopilot. Bucket 1. Stability. This is your emotional and financial cushion. It includes your emergency fund and fixed expenses. The goal: to sleep peacefully. Practical rule: define a target number of months of expenses, start small and progress gradually. Every incoming payment first honors stability. Psychology: your brain only allows growth when it feels safe. Without stability, it sabotages you. Bucket 2. Freedom. This is the engine of wealth building. Automatic contributions to assets aligned with your plan and time horizon. The key word here is consistency. Define a fixed percentage of your income and increase it by 1-2 points every 90-day cycle, depending on your consistency. Psychology: when you pay yourself first, you send an identity command. The system: I prioritize my future, and the rest of your life reorganizes around that. Bucket 3. Vitality. This is conscious enjoyment and energy-expanding projects. Education, health, experiences, intentional giving. Those who try to prosper by cutting all joy quit halfway. Those who spend without a plan live exhausted. Vitality provides emotional sustainability for the process, eliminates guilt, and completes the abundance circuit. Receive, direct, enjoy, with purpose. How to use it: day to day. On payday, automation distributes funds into the 3 buckets. Only after that do you decide on variable spending. Throughout the week, track 3 simple dashboard metrics. Freedom bucket: consistency, stability bucket: runway, and vitality percentage within plan. If one falls out of range, adjust next cycle calmly, no drama. Supportive environment: separate accounts for stability and variable spending. Cards stored away during risky hours, shortcut directly to your investment app. Language that protects decisions. It's not in my plan replaces a bird. I can't. Allocation replaces a bird spending. Buying freedom replaces a bird saving. Words calibrate perception. Perception drives action. Identity ties it all together. I am a calm steward of resources. Repeated in context and confirmed by micro-actions, it becomes instinct. With the 3-bucket system, you solve what drains the most energy: doubt. Without doubt, focus remains. Without scattered focus, consistency rises. And with consistency, abundance stops being an accident. It becomes your default pattern. The wealth cycle: learn, apply, teach. True abundance begins the moment you share what you've learned. Wealth that doesn't flow rots. Teaching is the ultimate test of financial mindset. If you can explain a concept, it means you've truly internalized it. Start small. At the end of each 90-day cycle, write down 3 practical lessons about money. 1 emotional, 1 technical, and 1 behavioral. It can be simple, like my anxiety drops when I automate my investments, or I noticed I spend more when I'm tired. Turn that into plain language and share it with a friend, in a post, or in conversation. The act of verbalizing organizes your thoughts and reinforces the identity of someone who masters their own system. The second stage is immediate application. Information without implementation is noise. Every new insight only matters if it changes your behavior the next day. Found out your mind is clearest in the morning. Make financial decisions only during that time. Realized your environment sabotages you at night. Cut off stimulus sources during those hours. Each micro-application cements the new mental program. The third stage is teaching. Teaching multiplies wealth without spending capital. Share processes, not results. Talk about what worked and what didn't. Show vulnerability with clarity. This was my mistake, and here's how I fixed it. That builds reciprocity, reinforces your leadership identity, and fuels the abundance mindset, the belief that there's more than enough for everyone. This cycle, learn, apply, teach, keeps your brain in constant expansion mode. It eliminates stagnation, fuels purpose, and turns self-knowledge into tangible value. It's the invisible engine of those who build freedom quietly. When you teach what you know, life gives back what you still need to learn, through scale, opportunities, and synchronicities. It's the law of cognitive return. Money is energy. Energy grows when it circulates. And that's the moment you realize you're not just accumulating wealth, you're becoming the source of it. The identity of the quiet millionaire. The real turning point isn't when you start earning more, but when you stop seeing yourself as someone who's trying and start behaving like someone who already is. Wealth is, above all, an identity. It's born in the silence of small choices, in the coherence between who you say you are and what you do when no one is watching. The poor mindset reacts to the world. The rich mind designs it. Those living in scarcity ask, how much does it cost? Those living in abundance ask, how much does it return? It's a difference of inches in thought, but miles in destiny. The quiet millionaire has already understood. Wealth isn't about showing off. It's about not needing to prove anything. He spends less energy on appearance and more on structure. He avoids extremes, neither the stinginess of fear nor the recklessness of compensation. He builds a financial routine that looks boring on the outside, but feels liberating on the inside. His habits are consistent because they're designed to fit real life, not to impress anyone. On the mental level, this profile practices neutrality toward money. No euphoria in gain, no despair in loss. He understands that money is an amplifier, not a savior. The calmer you are around it, the more it comes to you, because money loves calm command and runs from desperation. This identity also lives by the measure of purpose. Every financial decision runs through one question. Does this expand or contract my energy? The quiet millionaire only invests in what helps him grow in the long term. Time, freedom, relationships, learning, everything else is distraction. You don't need to be a millionaire to think like one. You just need to decide that you no longer live in survival mode. Wealth begins the moment you act with the serenity of someone who knows they're building something solid, even if the world can't see it yet. From here on, the journey is about maintaining the state, not chasing. You don't attract what you want, you attract what you are. Now you can see the entire mechanism. It was never just a spreadsheet. It was the story your mind kept repeating. When you expose the script of scarcity, install practical reprogramming, and anchor everything in identity, money moves out of the field of guilt and into the field of command. Financial freedom begins the moment you decide who manages your resources and prove that decision every day with evidence, not promises. Carry 3 pillars for life. Daily awareness, name your state, identify triggers, and ask the question that cuts through impulse. Does this bring me closer to freedom or just buy short-term relief? Simple method, the 3+3 reframing tool, the weekly financial second, and the 3-bucket system turn intention into trackable structure. Non-negotiable identity, I am a calm steward of resources. Repeated in context and confirmed by micro-actions, it rewires your financial thermostat. When mind, language, environment, and habit all point in the same direction, discipline becomes a consequence and results stop swinging. Abundance isn't a peak, it's a pattern. It's born from quiet consistency, automatic contributions on payday, a 24-hour rule for emotional spending, and a 20-minute review that prevents weeks of drift. Add to that the 90-day cycle, learn, apply, teach, and you have a growth engine that doesn't depend on motivation. Your new measure stops being how much does it cost and becomes how much does this return in freedom, energy, and purpose. If this episode gave you clarity to take action, subscribe to the channel, turn on notifications, and share it with someone who needs this shift. Comment below which micro-action you'll take today and which belief you choose to release right now. The change has already begun. The next vote for your new identity is yours.